What's up, everybody, and welcome back. We have a match day 11 review. I think I'm going to split them up again just so we can talk a little bit more in depth and maybe make the videos a little bit shorter so people will watch longer. We're kind of falling back on views. Maybe I need to change something up. So if you have any ideas of changing it up to get more, please comment down below and tell me your thoughts. Please let me know. I want to make better content for you all. And content for people that have not even seen the channel yet. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. First up, we have Toronto FC versus Orlando City. I thought Toronto was going to get this done at home, 1-0. It actually ended up being the reverse, and Orlando City wins 1-0. Orlando is just playing really good. I mean, they're second in the table on the East, but in this game, the 90th minute, Smith scores with an assist from Pato, so it's actually the 92nd minute, to be honest. And I can't believe that Orlando City is doing this good. They've been a very big surprise to me, but it is what it is. They move on. So next up, we have Colorado Rapids versus LAFC. I thought this game was going to be a 2-1 win for LAFC, but it actually ended up being a 2-0 win for Colorado Rapids. To me, not much went on in this game. Both goals came from penalties. And the 17th minute, Zardes, and then the 28th minute, Rubio puts one in for the Rapids to win this game 2-0. Not much goes on in the second half there. So we'll move on to a 6-goal game, all happening in the second half. We have Vancouver Whitecaps versus San Jose Earthquakes. I thought this was going to be a 2-0 win for Vancouver at home, but it actually ended up being a 3-3 draw. Cavallini in the 52nd minute give Whitecaps the lead. But then Montero with an assist from Espinoza in the 62nd minute for the Earthquakes tie the game. But then Ibobasi in the 73rd minute make it a 2-1 game for the Earthquakes. And then not even 2 minutes later, Raposo scores for the Whitecaps to tie it at 2-2. And then Ibobasi in the 81st minute, so 6 minutes later, from an assist from Espinoza, makes it 3-2 for the Earthquakes. Earthquakes probably think they have it sealed. But then in the 81st minute, Godoy, off of a cross, puts it in and ties the game 3-3 there in Vancouver. So we move on to New York City FC versus Columbus Crew. I thought it was going to be a 2-0 win for NYCFC, and we nailed that one on the head. Magno in the 9th minute for NYCFC with an assist from Rodriguez. And then in the 57th minute, Castellanos with a nice through ball from Morales to make it a 2-0 game. And that is about it for that game. So 2-0 NYCFC. Next up, we have Charlotte FC versus Montreal. I thought that this was going to be a 2-2 draw, but Montreal came in, handled business, 2-0 win for Montreal. In the 45th minute, Mihalovic scores to put Montreal up 1-0, but then in the 67th minute, Johnston widens that gap to 2 for Montreal, and thus the victory. 2-0 on the road for Montreal. So we move on to Philadelphia Union versus the Red Bulls. Thought this was going to be a 2-1 win for Philadelphia Union. Actually ended up being a 1-1 draw. Very strange for the Union, especially with Red Bull in the 55th minute. They got a red card. But in the 47th minute, Gazdag scored with an assist from Santos. And then LaQuintas for Red Bulls with an assist from Harper in the 66th minute. So they were down a man and still scored. I'm very surprised that Union did not win this game because they were at home and it was down a man. I don't understand. So Chicago Fire versus FC Cincinnati is up next here. Thought this was going to be a 1-1 draw, but FC Cincinnati proved me wrong and actually went into Soldier Field and won 2-1. We had an own goal by Chicago Fire in the 33rd minute, and then Duran for Chicago Fire gets a goal in the 83rd, and then Acosta for FC Cincinnati in the 85th minute gets that second goal for FC Cincinnati to win the game. So kind of early action in the game and then late action in the game to finish it off. Now we move on to Inter Miami versus DC United. I thought this game was going to be a 1-0 win for Miami. I thought that they were going to get back on to that winning streak that they had, but it actually ended up being a 2-2 draw. We had goals from Campagna in the 31st minute and Lowe for Inter Miami in the 45th minute. But then in the 48th minute, Fontas gets a goal for DC United to finish out the half to make it a 2-1 game. But then late-ish in the game, in the 74th minute, Ola Kamara gets a goal with an assist from Knuss. And then, I guess it doesn't really matter, but I'll throw it out there. In the 81st minute, Durkin for DC United did get a red card. Now we move on to Houston versus Nashville. I thought this game was going to end in a 1-1 draw, but it actually ends up in a 2-0 win. I'm very surprised by this. Yes, Houston scored in the 16th minute, but then they picked up a red card in the 35th minute, and then they scored on a penalty in the 53rd, which I did see the penalty. It was a penalty. I watched the first half of this game. No, not the first half. In the middle of the game, because I did not see the red card. At one point in time, they did not even really show that Houston was down a man on the broadcast. It didn't say, like, Houston only had 10 men. So there for a while, I thought it was still 11-on-11. And Nashville just didn't look very great. Mukhtar is given everything that he can. I believe that he's a heck of a player, and he deserves more than what they're doing. I mean, he's working his butt off. A couple other players are working their butt off, but it needs to be a collective team play for them to start winning ball games. So Houston wins down a man 2-0 at home versus Nashville. So next up, we have Real Salt Lake versus Austin FC. I thought that Austin was going to go into Salt Lake and win this game 2-1, but it was actually the reverse. It was 2-1 Real Salt Lake with goals from Ring in the 24th minute. So Austin took an early lead, but then Ramirez and Brody for Real Salt Lake score in the second half in the 55th minute and the 88th minute. So Real Salt Lake get back to their winning ways a little bit. They are still currently sitting 5th in the table in the West there. So next up, we have Portland Timbers versus Sporting Kansas City. I don't think anybody would have guessed this game. Thought it was going to be a 0-0 draw. Boy, was I wrong. There was 9 goals altogether. 7-2 Portland Timbers. I can't believe this happened. We had goals for Timbers. I'm just going to read off the goals here. Tamala Blanco with 2 goals. Fagaka with 2 goals. Laura with a goal. And Moreno with a goal. And then Russell and Zionis. I think that is how you would say that. Zionis. For Sporting in the 75th minute. Boy, what a game. I didn't get to watch any highlights for this, so I'm going to have to go back and watch highlights for it, because 7 goals. 7. And all of them but one came in the second half. Also to point out, Sporting Kansas City did get a red card in the 78th minute, but only 2 goals came after that, so very quick. Oh, and Timbers also had a red card there in the 74th minute from Racken. So it ended up being a 10v10 game at the end of it. Very dramatic. So next up, we have LA Galaxy versus FC Dallas. Thought this was going to be a 1-1 draw. I really did. I think that FC Dallas is better than what we think. And actually, FC Dallas went into this game and won 3-1 over LA Galaxy. I think Galaxy are overrated. I think they're always overrated in my opinion. But we have a goal in the 11th minute by Ferreira, and then a goal in the 20th minute by Paul Arriola, and then Ferreira in the 23rd minute for Dallas. So all their goals come within the first 23 minutes of the game, and then Douglas Costa scores in the 67th for LA Galaxy to give them it's not a shutout. Let's just talk about Ferreira, though. He's on fire. He's leading the league in goals. To me, he is the front runner for USMNT for the striker position. If he continues this play and he continues to score goals, continues to rank good. I mean, he got a 9 out of 10 rating for the game. He's doing great. I love it. I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for FC Dallas too. I think that they're a good team, but I think Ferreira is the leader for that role in the USMNT. Please let me know what you think. If you think that really it should go to someone else that's playing overseas, but with the form that he's in, really him and PFOC should be the two that are in there, but we know how that goes. So this leads us into our first game on Sunday, which was Atlanta against the Revs. I thought this was going to be a 2-2 draw. Thus, it was a 2-2 draw. I watched the whole game. To me, it was very boring. It was a boring game to watch. Other than the goals, not much went on. It was just like nothing really exciting to me. I didn't feel that way. So started off in the 15th minute. Almada for Atlanta United scores. And then in the 30th and 55th minute, Buxa for the Revs, which he is on fire right now, to go up 2-1. And then Araujo in the 63rd minute for Atlanta scores to tie it up. There were some good shots. I mean, both teams. Revs had some good shots in the second half. Atlanta had some good shots. I know that at one point in time, I think Buxa hit one off the post for the Revs in the second half. So it was a good game in the sense, like, it was back and forth. But it was just really boring. No real action, in my opinion. So that leads us into the last game of the week, which was Seattle Sounders versus Minnesota United. Thought Seattle would win this game 2-0. It actually ended up being a 3-1 win for Seattle there at Lumen Field. It actually started off in the 34th minute with load from Minnesota United. And then Seattle decided to wake up in the second half, and they got a penalty, and Rudiez scored that to make it 1-1 in the 50th minute. Roldan in the 74th minute, and then Lodero in the 94th minute to seal the deal, 3-1 for Seattle Sounders. The West, you all better watch out for Seattle. I think now that they can focus on the league and they're not focusing on the Champions League, the West, you better watch out. I think they're going to sneak into the playoffs. They're going to get lucky, get in. Not really lucky because they are a good team, but I think they might take it. They might go all the way for the West. I could see them upsetting LAFC. I could see them Austin. They're such a good team at home. So if Austin would somehow get some kind of home field advantage in the playoffs, that's going to be a tough team to beat. But I think the Seattle Sounders might go to the championship this year just because of the team that they have. They won the Champions League and the talent that they have and the way they play together. It's really good. So 3-1 victory there at home over Minnesota United. So that leads us into our current standings. So in the top 7 in the East, we have Montreal, Orlando City, Philadelphia Union, FC Cincinnati, the Red Bulls, NYCFC, and Atlanta United somehow is sneaking in there in 7th place in the East. For the West, we have LAFC, FC Dallas, Austin FC, LA Galaxy, Real Salt Lake, Houston Dynamo, and the Colorado Rapids. If the playoffs started today, those are the teams that would make it into the playoffs. And then to your right, here are my power rankings with my my formula that I have. So LAFC, of course, is still on top. Then you have FC Dallas, the Red Bull, Austin FC, Philadelphia Union, Montreal, NYCFC, Orlando City, LA Galaxy, and FC Cincinnati. So that is the current standings and then my power rankings. And then we have 155 games picked. We have only guessed the correct answer 61 times, the correct winner. And then we've only had 10 perfect games. Granted, perfect games are pretty hard to guess. That's guessing both scores and the winner correct. So my team of the week, everyone will probably guess it. It had to go to Portland Timbers. They score 7 goals. It doesn't matter who that's against. Professionally, scoring 7 goals, that's pretty fantastic. What great team play. And then I also had to give it to Blanco for the Timbers because he had 2 goals and I believe 2 assists. That is my player of the week also. So thank you for watching. I appreciate everything. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. We are trying to push to that 200 subscriber mark. I think we're around 120-ish right now, 118, something like that. So please push my videos out, if you have someone that likes MLS. And then also in the comments below, let me know what I'm doing wrong. Let me know what you'd like to see. I'd like to tweak it a little bit, make it more appealing. So thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.